Hi, everyone, and welcome to Divine Resolution Tarot. This reading is intended for the sign of Gemini. If you're watching for Gemini, just reverse roles because it's going to feel like I'm speaking to you about your Gemini. And this reading doesn't have a time, it'll just resonate whenever you find it. So let's figure out what's going on within your love life, Gemini. Wow, Seven of Swords, Strength, King of Pentacles. Let's see here. Bottom of your deck, Temperance. So we got some earth energy. Doesn't necessarily have to be an earth sign. Don't get too hung up on signs, right? But Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or this could just be somebody who is in a position of authority, right? Could be a business person, could be a father or a mother, head of a household, could be a boss. Temperance at the bottom of the deck is Sagittarian energy. Let's see what's been going on in the past by looking at the bottom of your deck. All right. Trying to work on yourself is what this looks like to me. Oh, yeah. You're not about the drama. You don't want any drama in your life. There's a situation where it looks like you figured out that somebody in your life was just not ever going to commit. And so instead of you waiting around, it looks like you thought this was a super toxic kind of connection where it's like, okay, this person's just going to string you along forever. I see you looking at this person as being somebody who was manipulative and feeling like you saw things for what they were. Rather than planning to move forward with them, it's almost like you went back to the drawing board and you've been doing a lot of like self-care, self-love. So let's see what's going on now. Seven of Swords. Somebody is hiding their feelings. Now, this could be you, but this could also be the person that you are dealing with. So let's clarify that. All right. So somebody is acting like they don't want a reconciliation. And that very well could be your energy, right? Maybe you have looked at this person, you decided like, hey, I love them, but this isn't going anywhere. I can't really deal with the disappointment that is attached to the situation. And it's almost like getting into a space where you realize that just because you love someone, that doesn't mean that they're what's best for you. So kind of an energy of hoping that this can work out, but feeling like you need to be doing something else. There's still passion here. There's still some kind of desire or interest, but I also feel like there's a bigger need to stay the course as far as when you think about this person. There isn't really a whole lot showing me that you want to be the one to make the move to reconcile with this energy just because of the way that they've treated you in the past. So there's this energy of like, no, I need to be consistent. I need to stick to my decision. Even if I feel called to this person or opposed to this person, I need to not make them a priority, right? I need to match that energy because I think for you, you see that based on what you've seen in the past, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. So you're trying really hard to make sure that you're not inviting toxicity into your life. You're not paying attention to things that just seem like a dramatic waste of time, right? Especially with the strength right in the middle of your reading. Even if there is a desire to try to reinitiate something, I feel like you are viewing it as you hurting yourself. If you were to put yourself back in this situation, it's like you're making a decision to continue with a lot of what you've already seen. And for you, I think that your desire to have like a healthy relationship, it really trumps your desire to be in this person's space at this time. Let's take a look at, all right, so what's being hidden is Page of Cups in the reverse. So yeah, just lots of feelings around. I think that you thought that this person was like your other half. Because oftentimes when Page of Cups comes out in the reverse, there's like a psychic connection, right? That's not being acknowledged. It's something that you're keeping to yourself. Even if your intuition is saying like, hey, this was the person you were supposed to be with, you're not allowing yourself to act on that, right? I think that there's a lot of disappointment around the way this situation played out. And so that's something that you're also keeping, to yourself. It looks like you could be trying to work on either your life, yourself, your career, or perhaps you're working on something new. But something that you're also keeping to yourself is that you're not exactly wanting something new either. So it feels like you're kind of I don't want to say you're in a stalemate situation because you have the power to do what you want. But what I'm seeing here is like, you don't really want the old based on the way that that person treated you or the fact that it feels like it's going nowhere. But you're also not really open to anything new because there is still a fondness or that intuitive feeling of like, this previous person is who I was supposed to be with. So if you're meeting new people, I feel like that's something that you're keeping to yourself because you don't want to like turn people off or ruin, potential opportunities to move forward. I do feel like there's definitely a pull to do something else, right? Whether you feel pulled to this past person or not, you're open to new love in the sense of like, if it happens, it happens, but also I'm not looking for it. And I think something that might be a little surprising to you is if you're meeting new people, there's still that feeling of like, oh, this previous person was my person, right? So you're kind of in a weird place because I see you wanting new love. I see you feeling like you deserve better, right? But then when new people come, there's still this fondness for this previous person, and I feel like that's been kind of a reoccurring theme through a lot of the readings that I've been seeing. So it's interesting to me. I'm not an astrologer, but if you guys follow astrology at all, let me know what's going on because everybody's message is kind of similar. Like there's a lot of old, there's a lot of new, and people feel different about it for sure based on the sign, but it feels like the message is kind of the same. A lot of people are going through the same thing at this time. Now you got King of Pentacles in the upright being clarified by King of Pentacles in the reverse. Wow, right? So it looks like there's one person that is just not it, right? And then maybe there's potential with somebody new. But I think the hard part is like the person that seems like they could be a better match for you. This old person is still so like kind of enmeshed in your energy. If you've met someone new, then this would be it. If not, give it time. Because there is a King of Pentacles coming into your, environment if you haven't already met that person. The difficulty though is the previous situation, it's still very much a part of your life. And I'm not sure why, because it doesn't look like you're really talking to this person. Here's you in the reverse. I think you just need to walk away from this in your emotions, right? And it's hard because when you have that intuitive pull to someone where it's like, okay, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, but everything on paper, everything that's tangible is showing me I need to run from this. It becomes quite confusing, right? It becomes a situation where it's like you're pulled in two different directions and it feels like neither choice is the correct choice to make, right? Stay or go. That's really hard. Let's clarify this King of Pentacles a little bit more. Okay. So we've got a King of Pentacles helping you with your Seven of Swords. Somebody is coming into your life to dispel this confusion that I feel like you've been feeling. And they're actually going to be giving you an offer that is stable. It's something that perhaps you were unsuspecting of. It's something that looks like what you've been wanting. And so you got one person who is coming in. Let's see if these are two different people. The Star. This very well could be someone that wants to reconcile with you. If not, then they're a soulmate and this is someone else. But this is making me feel like you're going to be getting two offers. Okay. And so the hard part is figuring out which one to take. Do you take an offer from somebody who perhaps has shown you that they never are really going to get to where you want to be, but you feel pulled to that person? Or do you take an offer from somebody that seems like they're a good fit for where you're going, except you don't feel the same connection with them? You get what I'm saying? And so it's very hard because it feels like you're going to be having to weigh very heavily what's important to you, right? Where does your commitment lie? Where do you want to be? Do you want to return to something that it feels like in the past, it hasn't gone anywhere? Or do you take the chance on something new, even though maybe your heart still seems like it's kind of over here a little bit more than in this new place, right? You have an opportunity, Knight of Swords in the reverse. So let's look at that. Wheel of Fortune. So this is really going to be up to you because you have an opportunity to move on from things that haven't worked in the past and to create something new. Now, some of you are going to be creating something new with a new person, right? Others of you are having an opportunity to move on from the past that you've experienced with the old person. And so you'll be able to create something new with that same person from your past. You will have to decide which one you want, is really what this is about, because your obstacle is the Five of Wands. So this is talking a lot about conflict, right? And I think something that you might want to keep in mind, Gemini, is that everybody comes with like their own starter kit of bullshit, right? Everybody has drawbacks. Everybody has things that will irk you. But it's like, who is worth suffering for, right? Um, is the person from your past somebody that you love so much that even though they behave a certain way that's not in alignment with what you want, you would put up with that, or you would work on that to see where it can go because that's where it feels right. But then it also feels very wrong. You get what I'm saying? Or is the new person somebody that you would be willing to take a chance with because so far they've shown you like, hey, if I move on, I could be doing this over here and I don't have all this baggage or all this like, bad energy with this person yet, but I also don't feel that connection, right? And so there's drawbacks, it looks like, to both situations. But there's also positives, right? So it's almost like you have to make a pros and cons list because there's the person that's familiar and feels like home, but then it's like that home is what, like a crack house, right? Because of the way they behave. Then there's the person that is more stable and could actually like show up and do a lot of the things that it feels like this was lacking, but your heart is not there yet, right? Very difficult situation, and you're going to have to make the decision that's right for you, and for each of you it'll be something different. But I am seeing that there are these two offers here for you to choose from. Really, I think something you're going to have to be cautionary of is comparing your situation to everyone else, because there's something about the previous connection, could be like a twin flame dynamic. But it also could be a karmic partner too, with this King of Swords in the reverse. There's something about this previous connection that I feel like maybe it wasn't meant to look like everybody else's relationship. So if you are trying to get the relationship that you see everybody else have, and you're thinking like, I can never have it with this person, that could actually be a drawback, because there's something about the dynamic of this connection where it's always going to be a little bit different than what your friends have. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I think that kind of happens with twin flames where, maybe it starts off really rocky and there's a bunch of crap and then it gets really good. And so if you try to compare what you had with this person to what your friends have, it's going to look totally different, but also the connection's totally different. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of an obstacle, is like looking at relationships and then trying to compare them to your standard of where you think they should be, right? Also, something that's going to be hard for you is like, if you're with this new person, are you going to have a tendency to always compare them to this past person, right? If you go back to this past person, are you going to always compare this past person to the standard of where you think you guys should be versus where you are? You get what I'm saying? So it's almost like you're going to have to get in touch with your emotions, because your advice is actually the Knight of Cups. And that's where your victory is going to be, and I guess in all honesty, like at the end of the day, if you're happy, right, then it doesn't really matter what it looks like. But if you're not happy, then yeah, it's time to do something else. So two offers, you're supposed to get in touch with your feelings. And you're supposed to think about like, what would you feel the worst doing? Kind of weird, but that's what came out. So like, if somebody turned out to be with someone else that wasn't you, which one of these people would that affect you the most, right? If this new person was like, Gemini, I'm not going to talk to you, I'm with someone else now, would you be devastated as much as if this person was like, Gemini, I'm not going to talk to you, I'm with someone else now? So honestly, that's what you're supposed to follow, is like, what would hurt the most if you lost it and what's worth suffering for, okay? Because like I said, everybody comes with their own like crap. Everybody has something that you have to deal with when you deal with them. But it's like, what are you willing to pay the price to keep or to obtain, right? So I feel like you're supposed to get to the bottom of how you would feel if you lost both of these people. you know, and if you haven't met this new person yet, they're coming. But maybe you just think like, if this new person came into my life and they were all the things I wanted, but I didn't feel the connection, like the emotional connection, am I willing to give up on the idea of how something should look, how my person should be, how my relationship should be? Because that's kind of what this King of Pentacles represents, is like the ideal partner, right? And so you have this one partner that on paper, everything looks great, but you're not into it. Then you have this other partner that's like a raging tire fire. You have all this baggage or, you know, crappy history with, but you're totally there, you know? So which one are you willing to sacrifice for the other? You know what I mean? Which one would you feel the worst if you lost? Now, because you have two people that are so strongly coming up, I'm going to look into your extended for both people. The King of Pentacles in the upright, King of Pentacles in the reverse. I'll look at old, I'll look at new. But something that I'm going to do is try to figure out what your future would be like with either of these people, so that you can have a little bit more to go on versus like being in the middle of trying to make this decision without a whole lot other than what you see, right? That's kind of hard, what you see and what you feel. So I will put the extended preview at the end of the video. The link is in the description box and I will see you over there. All right, guys. So you are going to be surprised to find that, so we got our King of Wands bottom, that's new, King of Pentacles up top for old. Your King of Pentacles offer actually seems like it's coming from your old person, okay? So kind of a plot twist here. Whoever is new, they may not exactly be what you're thinking they are. And then it looks like, you know, your old person is starting off with 7 of Swords in the reverse, which was your public reading, right? We were talking about that in the reverse and the upright. They actually came in with the energy of being the person that apologizes and has more stability, whereas the new person is coming in as King of Wands, Page of Swords in the reverse, and they seem kind of like a, you know, a liability is the way that I'll put it. So pretty interesting. It's very possible that this old energy or this twin or whoever this is, they're coming in to actually save the day, save you from something that perhaps you don't want to be in, right? Because it looks good now, or the idea of it looks good if it hasn't already manifested into your life. But what I'm seeing is that you actually have an opportunity for something new because your Wheel of Fortune has changed. It's now in the upright, and there's the possibility of growth in a situation that perhaps you did not see growth. So kind of interesting, because initially it looked like your King of Pentacles was coming from someone in the future, whereas it seems like your old person is actually the King of Pentacles, and your new person, they have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, and they're spread for their future actions. So kind of scary, right? Like that was kind of a plot twist we didn't see coming.